This Hangout on Air is live. Oh my God. 55 failures. This is like what they taught us in film school, you guys. You know, they taught us in film school 50 out of 51 projects die in development hell. So while being developed and while you put all this hype and all this excitement into your big project that you're going to see on the big screen in movie houses across the world, this sentence is ringing in the back of your head all the time. 50 out of 51 projects die in development hell. But, you know, we're not making movies here. So the success rate is very different when you're actually making, when you're building a company or building a business or building a coaching clientele, then, or building a raw food lifestyle, then success is actually inevitable if you are good enough at failing often enough and getting back on your feet. So 55 failures, 50 failures out, and the 51st is absolutely it, because here you're not gone and dead like in a screenplay. You know, it just gets shelved somewhere and probably never comes out again. But here you are on. So now it's kind of perfect for today's topic, because today's topic is turning the failure into success and finally succeeding. So this is finally succeeding. And it doesn't matter if you're not listening to this on the day of the broadcast. I will still respond to your chats. I will still respond to your questions that you can post later to me at johanna@johannasrawfoods.com and or on Facebook or wherever you connect with me. So our last class, our last free class, I wanted to do in video just because I wanted you to see that I also do video, and of course I also do video coaching when that is requested rather than phone coaching. So that's why I really wanted to get this live stream going, to give me and you the sense that this is fun, this is pleasurable, and this is a good approach, a viable, workable, step-by-step learning approach to helping you get to that success yourself. And I know I'm going to be laughing throughout this thing because it is so ridiculously, it has been so ridiculously difficult to pull this off. And it has in part to do with technical things, like I have a Chromebook, and Chromebook doesn't broadcast direct on YouTube. It has to go through Hangout, and it's difficult. And if you miss one little step, you just are stuck, and you just can't figure out for the life of you how to get there. And guess what I did? I went on how to broadcast, to live stream on YouTube from Chromebook, and there were 3 kids giving instructions, young kids. I mean, these were kids between 7 and 10 years of age, and they give step-by-step instructions of how this works. So I said, what a futuristic world. You know, these kids are creating their success at a very early age. And it's a very cool thing. It just demonstrates again and again that our children and our grandchildren are ready for life, are like incarnated so much faster than we ever could have imagined when I was a kid. So they're confident, and it doesn't matter. You know, one of the children is like under her cover in her bed instructing other kids, I suppose, how to run live streams. So you see that mom is not supposed to know this. She is going to have her success in her bed. It's a bunk bed, so she's sitting there. The other bunk is right above her head and under her cover and doing her instructions how to live stream. It's just wonderful. So here we are. Today is about success. Welcome to this last segment of our 4-week free introductory course to either becoming a raw chef with a certificate at the end. It's called Raw Chef and Sustainable Culture Certificate, and it's a 12-month program, and this serves as an introduction, as do the other 3 sessions. And if you hear weird sounds, there's a dog here under my feet, and she wants attention right now. So she's not going to get much. Layla, you want to show yourself? Okay, no, she doesn't. She's too small. She can't get up here. All right. So today, welcoming you to this last segment of the 4 sessions, I want to introduce myself just briefly. I'm Professor Johanna Sophia, namely a professor of writing, directing, and producing films, Columbia and other universities. I, however, then went into less risky arenas and was also a translator. I speak 5 languages for a large law firm, know how the world works a lot better because of it, and was always into healthy living, into raising my children as healthily as possible. And that's why I researched and took all the knowledge I could find and combined it with my own logical thinking. I'm a very, very intelligent, very, very logical person. So I wanted to make sense of all the information that's out there. And I found out that vegan, and especially raw vegan living, is the healthiest lifestyle that we can have. And of course, it includes the least chemicals. So that's why I got into healthy living and vegan raw food. And I took into this raw food creation my desire for exquisitely delicious gourmet foods. Having been on the other side of the camera in the beginning of my career, a bit of a mini movie star, and having eaten in the fine restaurants in Paris and Berlin and many other places. So I was always into delicious flavors. Now today, if you offer me a steak or something like that, it does not attract me anymore at all. I am much more attracted, however, by very fine gourmet dishes. So that is what I teach. Of course, that goes along with basics, with the basic science on the biology of plants and on human life on Earth. And I do a lecture, you will come across it online as well, called Easy, Fun, Raw, How to Add More Raw Food to Your Diet, in which I go into, why raw makes so much sense and why, of course, vegan makes so much sense for us humans. And however, I don't want to convert to anybody. I just want to help you add more of that good stuff to your current lifestyle and or get you to the next level where you want to go, because you will feel so much better with the steps that you take in that direction. So today, the success story also applies to having success in creating that lifestyle that you want, having success in creating the business that you want, having success in creating the happiness, the emotional balance that you want. And I'll tell you, 2 hours ago, when I wanted to live stream on time, because of course I'm also German, I like to do things on time and properly, I was quite frustrated. And to get back to that ease of, this is all the process, and it's so wonderful when you finally get it to work, when that success manifests in your life, and you're here, I'm talking to you, you are listening to me, and we are going through this experience together. So I put on my big cheat sheet here quite a few points, and my next point is that, of course, success is a matter of interpretation. So yes, it is a big success that after so many attempts, because we attempted this for hours last week in New York as well, this broadcast. I was in my house in New York last week, and my son and I tried to get this going. A few of you have seen the crazy little video that happened, that we weren't even aware that it happened, and was suddenly out there, accessible. We couldn't get it to work properly, and then the light was fading, and we weren't set up, and so forth, and other things had to be done that evening. So this is a success, that I'm doing this now, that I'm talking to you now, that I did not give up, that I did not allow my emotions and my frustrations to overwhelm me and go down that pitiful, pitiful me avenue, which I could have done. You know, I'm always close to the water. I get sad and upset that the world isn't working the way I'd love to have it. But instead, we turned this around, we persisted, my assistant and I, and we made it work. And here I am. So definitions of what constitutes success for you can be of a broad range. So you can decide that if you manage to fall asleep peacefully tonight after having had difficulties falling asleep, that's a great success. Success can be that you set marks of, I want to make $10,000 this month. And when you reach that point, that is your success. Success can be that you set a career goal and you say, I want to have a functioning business in 2 years from now. And when you get there, that is your success. But don't make the success so huge that you cannot enjoy the little successes on the way there. And the little successes happen all the time. And again, last week I talked about the importance of failure, or the week before, rather, last session, I should say, and how important it is to experience failure, because when we overcome it, we experience our strength and our persistence, and we experience our power and our true self in so many ways, better than if we just always sort of, oh yeah, everything's going good, everything is well, and we just, I don't want to rock the boat, I don't want to risk anything, and you get into this fake mode of, oh yeah, life is great. When in New York, when you ask anybody, how are you doing? And people just say, oh, I'm fine. Actually, that's not very New York. In New York, they say, I'm good. It's a little more honest than, oh, I'm fine. How about you? So we don't want to get into that self-delusion of that everything is going fine. We do much better, or are much happier, I think, when we allow ourselves to set the goals so that we do experience struggle, so that we do experience those moments of exhaustion and frustration, and then overcome and get to the next level. And I don't have to wear these all the time, by the way, if you want to not see those reflections on my glasses all the time. But next is on my long list of speaking about what defines success, how you can turn your life, your work, your life into your work and your work into your life, not the drudgery that we perceive as our job life, our work life, but rather turn your work into that which you want to have and do in life. Because then you can have a much more continuous sense of success, or rather, those little failures just interrupt the sense of success and happiness. So if you manage to work in a field that truly fulfills you, that you just love it, you just love doing it. And I just talked to some techies, and they're sitting at their desk and they were saying, I was the one who was like inventing things on my very primitive laptop when I was 8-9 years old. And that's what I wanted to do. And that's what I'm still doing. I couldn't be happier. Now, put me in front of a computer and have me program it. I don't think that would be me. But that's the beauty of it. So find that which makes you truly happy. And if that is in the health direction, in the wellness direction, in the raw food direction, then I'd love to work with you. And I'd love to help you get there. In that turning of your life into your work, or turning your work into your happy life. Because then, of course, today with flex hours, that makes it even easier. Even if you have kids, if you have a family, even if you travel a lot, make it so that there is not that distinction between job and life. Even though, just 20 years ago, the preaching of almost everybody was the exact opposite. Go to work, do your job, and then come home and don't have to think about it. Just live. Isn't that sad when you think it that way? Isn't it sad that you have 8 hours a day taken out of your life where you don't live, where you don't love what you do, where you don't smile and are enthusiastic and happy and get excited about what you're doing? I don't want that. And I don't want that for you. I want for you that you define success as part of your life always, and set the goals to then come out of that flow of life and everyday little successes. So let me give you an example out of a relationship success. For example, one of my clients has been together for 4 years with her new partner, and he's like very reserved and very cynical, and I coached her for Valentine's, before Valentine's Day, to not allow him to not allow her, rather, I should say it the other way around. I coached her to not allow herself to go begging, but to just be happy-go-lucky, but not beg for something for Valentine's Day. She loves doing events and celebrations and creating events. And because she allowed him to find his own approach, for the first time in her 4-year relationship, she received a big bunch of flowers and a beautiful card for her Valentine's from him. And of course, then the next step is to realize that that is success. That is success at allowing the other person to find their own way at being successful in that relationship, namely coming toward her without being begged or asked. So that's a relationship success. Let me give you a couple of other bringing life into your success stories. My beautiful business coach, Shanda Sumter, I'm giving her a little blurb here, of Hardcore Business, does these huge events, and people from all over the world, mostly women, but also some wonderful men, come and learn how to run businesses with her. However, she also really, really wanted to have a baby, and did. And she was able to bring her baby. She breastfed and everything, doing everything the right way. She brought her baby with her to this big business event in the conference center, and allowed him to be part of it without making a fuss or showing him off, but just bringing her life to her business and making her business her life in a very joyful manner. And of course, all of us were rejoicing, seeing a mom with this beautiful little breastfed baby, being allowed to be on stage. Not, of course, all the time that she was talking to us, but for that little while that she shared her life with all of us in a very, very successful multi-million business. So that is possible today. We can combine our life and business, and that is also something that I want to help you with. So I call that work is life and life is work, and it leads to happiness throughout. To create a business as an entrepreneur, of course, you also need tools. So I wanted to talk to you briefly about how to know what those tools are, and how to step by step allow yourself to build that business using those tools and certain frameworks that can help you succeed. You can't do everything yourself. And it is very easy to get frustrated when you're not good at something and you're trying to do it anyway, and you're not allowing others to help you. So that's why the subtitle on one of the emails that I sent out was also from failure to the courage to ask for help to success. And that step is what I want to address for a moment. That step, asking for help, asking for the tools, getting the right kind of tools, being taught how to find the best tools. And the tools include that we all need mentors, coaches, teachers, to help us to be the models after whom we build our business, or our life for that matter. If we want to have a life change, if we want to have a health change, if we want to overcome health challenges and want to do it ourselves, and we don't want to go the conventional route and end up with all the side effects of regular medicine. So if we really are serious about self-healing, for example, we need to look for those coaches and helpers and those who have done it before us and can demonstrate the successes of how it works, so that you can be successful too. Very, very few human beings can sort of come up with avenues to success that are entirely new and their own. And that, well, it might not even be possible, because we all have to learn from others throughout life. So yes, getting the right teachers, getting the right coaches, getting the right tools is what is absolutely required when you want to make a successful change. And of course, giving yourself time. Let me talk about time. Some people are sometimes successful very quickly. Several times in my life, I was successful very quickly. Like when I went on stage, the first show really, the first big show I ever was in was huge. And I was in all the newspapers and all the talk shows, and I was very young. And then I hadn't really built that. I didn't really have the tools to turn that into a career. And then my voice was injured, was broken. And we were at the Vienna Theater Festival with our music show. And suddenly I had nothing, had no tools to fall back on. I had to basically start all over. And I went to music conservatory and, built another career again. But sometimes fast success is dangerous because we fall into this belief that, we can just do it and there it is. And it's always going to be like that. It's mostly not. That's why all those failures and overcoming them, building the skills is so important. But I was also talking about physical, technical tools. If you have and want to build a larger, successful, financially successful, lucrative business today, you need to allow for the tools that include internet tools, that include live speaking, like what I'm doing right now. It was so difficult to establish. Of course, I have spoken live on stages many times, and that to me is easier than getting this down. But this is what I need to learn and do more of right now. So you need the tools of a group of people who already are predestined, who already desire what you have to offer. You need to find those, and I can show you how to find those people. You need a large group of people who are looking for what you have. And in order to communicate with those groups of people, you need to be at least capable enough to get started on all the tools that we're using these days, from Facebook to a mailing platform, to a recording platform, to a conference platform, to opt-in pages, to et cetera, et cetera. So all of these things are tools that we need today to build a successful business. Even the baker at the corner of the street today needs to have some of those tools in order to stay viable, in order to stay connected to their, what we call online, their tribe. The group of people, and the groups can vary and they can expand and they can jump suddenly because somebody else works together with you. For example, you do a joint venture with somebody and suddenly you have a lot of new followers, viewers, and or you can happen to have create a meme or happen to have a YouTube success, or, we don't know these things in advance. And some come very surprisingly, and then we need to have the tools again and the knowledge to benefit from these unexpected successes. So again, I would love to help you with those tools that are needed to get to business success. And in success in getting healthier, likewise, tools apply. When you switch to a healthier lifestyle, the tools may include that you know where to look for the right, obviously food supplies, but that's not it. The right cosmetics, the right cleaning agents, the right materials that you want to wear. You know, dear colleague of mine, Dr. Brian Clement of the Hippocrates Institute, wrote that wonderful book, Toxic Clothes. So, you know, what you wear on your body may decide whether you're going to be the next who has cancer or not. Of course, I believe that cancer is the result of a cumulative effect of many things in our life. So it can, you know, definitely food has a huge influence, but lots of other things, atmospheric things, of course, chemtrails and all those things we can't do anything about too. But those things that we can do something about, we must include in this toolkit toward a healthier lifestyle. And that, again, is your cosmetics, your cleaning agents, your clothes, your, I was going to say your toilet paper, you know, your detergents for your laundromat, your please, no softeners, your etc. So there's just so many things. The way you build your home, what materials are in your home. I did research once on toxicity of furnishings. There's a lot of formaldehyde. Some of you may know what that is. It's the stuff they preserve corpses with in all our furnishings that are not plain wood or glass or stone, or maybe they have this new material, paper mash, that is very densely packed and so forth. So there are a lot of non-toxic materials out there, but the majority of what we have in our homes is pretty toxic and oozes out, emits all the time chemicals that are detrimental to our health and can be quite contributory to our illnesses, whether it's cancer or rheumatoid arthritis. So in the creation of a healthier life, you want to be knowledgeable about all those effects on your body, and you want to counteract those effects by eliminating where you can what bad materials you have, and where you can't, by strengthening yourself to such an extent, strengthening your immune system to such an extent that you can withstand a lot more than others. Giving you another little example, of course, when we jump on a plane, and I travel a lot, so I'm on a plane very often, we quite severely impact our immune system because we are undergoing all sorts of radiation, even if we don't go through that chamber, which I never go through, but you know, just the plane by itself has a lot of radiation on it, microwaves, etc. And also, we don't have any fresh air. It's all conserved air. You know, what do you call that? It's canned air, basically, that we breathe when we're out there on the plane for hours and hours. And of course, I go back and forth between Europe and New York a lot. So these are long flights or longer flights. And I feel it. I feel it that suddenly a tooth is acting up, or I feel a sore throat, and immediately I have to counteract that. And I have to bring on my Get Healthy Quick tools. And again, those are tools, and bring out the ginger and the garlic and the honey and the cayenne pepper and make my super drink. And I'll teach you that too, if you want to learn that. So those are all tools helping us to become successful in the respective field that we decide to be successful in for our next, minimum 12 months we should give us for making major changes in our life, be it business or be it health. For you to be successful, do we have a book of mine, Saskia, out here? To be successful in business, there are, of course, also other tools that can be very, very helpful. One of them is being out in the public speaking. Another one is having a book or two written. I was just going to show you my book that's just been reprinted. Freedom, Fun, Genius, Turning Learning into Adventure. Of course, we got it reprinted because it feeds into what we're doing with our school, the Gruna School, with a W if you want to look it up. All right, so writing a book is very important in being successful. Having an online presence, as I already mentioned, and doing speaking events. The next thing that becomes really, really important is oops, she found it. There it is, and I'm just going to show you for a minute. Let me see. There it is. Freedom, Fun, Genius, Turning Learning into Adventure. And oh, there are the folks that was my little family plus 2 troubled teens who went on this trip around the USA with me. And we learned so much. You know, I homeschooled my children for a while, and I'm really happy to say, I have to put this in here quickly, that we have a speaker for our next big conference for our school. It's called the Dyslexic Genius. We have a speaker by the name of Andre Stern, and he wrote a book, And I Never Went to School. I don't know whether it exists under that title in English. I was trying to find it, couldn't. But he travels the world and talks about how he learned so much more than most people, although he always says, I'm a regular person, I'm just a happy guy, as opposed to being miserable. But he speaks 6 languages, he has a bunch of books out, he is a wonderful musician and composer, he is a dancer, and he is a metallurgy expert. That's one of the things he was so interested in and learned about metals and what you can make out of these metals. So check out Andre Stern if that's of interest to you. And you know, that's a little bit what we did, going out into the world and learning by experiencing the world and visiting other people. And my next book on food, Raw Foods Are Awesome, is in the make, and that will be out soon. I know some of you have been waiting for it for a long time, but it will be out soon. Because, you know, even after the 50 failures in our business now, we do not have to give up. The 51st will be the success, like I said earlier. So next, for our success creation is the team. Now, some of us sometimes like to just get it done by ourselves, you know, sit all night and write and sit all night and research, and that's all wonderful. But to really build toward a greater success and be more effective in this world and help other people, we need to build a team. And that team can be varying, but it is very helpful to have 1 or 2 people that you work with very closely and that you can always fall back on, and or that you can hire into your permanent team and maybe even have become your partners. So the team is the next thing that you want to think about. And the team can be like, God, did I wish I had a techie on my team, you know, that I can just call upon at a snap of the finger and say, you know, I can't get this thing to work, please make it work. But I'm not there that I have my own techie on my team. So that too shall come. So yes, the team is incredibly important. And while we want to have people on our team, we can actually ourselves still be part of somebody else's team also. One doesn't prohibit the other. It's like I was talking to a friend just a couple of days ago. Actually, no, it was a client. And she was saying, well, you know, I've always had a housekeeper, even at the time when I was cleaning houses for money. So I said, oh, that's so funny. I did the same thing when I was studying and actually quite poor. I was doing jobs, organizing people's files and cleaning their houses, etc. But at the same time, I had somebody come to my house and tidy my stuff up every other week, just because it is so much more efficient. We are so much more efficient when we're doing other people's stuff often. And it also provides joy. It provides a different kind of give and take and gratitude and reward. And of course, we pay people when they clean for us, and we get paid when we clean for others. I mean, it may seem silly, but it's a wonderful exchange. So I want to encourage you to be in somebody else's team and also have your own team and build toward success. And it helps you to learn the interaction continuously, learn how to create mutual reward and mutual happiness, not the kind of exploitation approach that we've had for far too long on planet Earth. So yes, just to wrap up the list here, for a successful business, we want to make life into our work and work into our life. We want to have tools to help us. That starts with mentors and coaches. Those are the ones that have the experience that we want to attain, that have the knowledge that we want to accumulate, and that we can go to with questions that will probably trigger our own exploration in a way we would not have been able to do just by ourselves. So that's why we need coaches. And that's why we need, we have online real life listeners here. It's okay. It's all part of life. You see, I'm bringing my life into this video too. And we want to have, oh, there's one type of tool that I forgot. We want to create vision tools. And as silly as that may seem in some ways, you know, those big vision boards and people make mind movies and so forth, but it is very helpful and very important to use some of those vision tools, because we envision and we don't let go of that vision. I still have a huge drawing, I don't even know where it is, but I know it exists somewhere, of the large complex that I want to build when I'm through with building the school here, and how it can begin there too. And it's a conference center that's entirely self-heating, self-cooling, and ecologically wonderfully earth compatible, I call it, earth friendly, earth compatible. And I made that drawing so that it's not just a fleeting thought in my mind. And of course, I've written about it too, but still, I made that physical drawing, and I actually went to an expert engineer who builds these self-heating, self-cooling buildings all over the world, and discussed, you know, what it could look like. Because I don't want it to be rectangular or square, which is what so many buildings still are. I want it to have different shapes and a more organic form. So making vision boards, making reminders of where you want to go is also very important. And that goes into details too. Coming back to my dear coach, Shanda Sumter, she's told us in one session that every problem has at least 3 solutions. Every problem has at least 3 solutions. And she said, write it on little Post-its and post it all over your house, and don't allow these incredible problems that you are going to encounter because I'm making you do things you've never done before. I'm making you use technologies you've never used before. I'm making you test your own limits like you've never done before. You need to remind yourself that nothing is a dead end. There are always at least 3 solutions to every problem. So that too, again, you know, is a little tool that you give yourself to mentally be reminded not to take yourself and your frustration so seriously. Doesn't mean that you couldn't have a body collapse or a breakdown of some sort as you are struggling to build this business and or this lifestyle that you want to create. That can still happen. We put it to our failures that we overcome and for which we find those at least 3 solutions to that problem. So yeah, those are the tools and the aids. Then I mentioned that it's always useful to write a book or create a little documentary, but you will probably do that in today's day and age anyway. You know, have video material about yourself and your business. The book is still a very important tool though, to create events where you can speak. And it doesn't have to be a big stage or much money. You will realize that once you are in front of people speaking about what you do, it gives you a different status, even if it's just in your mind. And it certainly is in the minds of those who listen. And if there are 5 people, those 5 people give you that new status. And it's important that you allow yourself to indulge in that or to rejoice in those new feelings of authentically being yourself and making your business something you share with others. If you don't share with others, you will probably not be very happy. So never mind whether it's a programmer sitting behind his computer all day, he or she too wants that program that he or she created to be useful to others. And then there is that connection that we share with others. So sharing, I suppose, could also be put under the tool list. And last but not least, very important, be aware of the team that you create. And the team has to be people who love what you do, people whom you love because they add something wonderful to your business, and vice versa, people that you work for and or are supportive of by being on their team need to give you the feeling that you are adding to them and that you're learning from them. So it's a give and take. If that give and take is only money, it most often does not lead to happiness. And in living between New York and Germany, I get to see a lot of grumpy faces. Actually, sadly, in a way more so in Germany than in New York, but I think New York is exceptional in the US. That's when people have not reached that authenticity in their life and that making life their work and work their life. So we don't want that. We want to share and be at ease with sharing with people, even if it's a smile on the street while passing somebody. So sharing to me is very important as well in being successful. So now we're coming to the last few minutes, and I want you to think about what your success route will be, what you want to do for the next 12 months or minimum 6 months. And if you want to give yourself a new start, and I assume that's why you're watching this, then take out the pen and the paper and start writing down what that is. What is that dream goal? To my clients, I say, close your eyes and see your dream life, your dream house, your dream relationships, your dream lifestyle, your dream purpose in this world. And then write it down or tell me. You can make an appointment and tell me, and we will figure out how you work toward that dream goal. Of course, if your dream is to live in a different galaxy on a spaceship, I will not be the right coach. You might need a different coach. But for many earthly endeavors, I can be helpful. So one more time, write down your biggest dream goals, and then we will start small by working toward it with all the steps that I mentioned. Who is ready? Are you ready? Then I look forward to hearing from you. If not, there's all the time you need is there. I have worked with a 94-year-old woman who changed her eating habits. And I have worked with children, of course, and am working with children who are very young and every age in between. So, yeah, and I promised a bonus if you are listening to all of this and have hopefully gained some understanding. And the bonus is that I am giving away 5 private sessions, 5 one-hour private sessions. That's the $297, I think, dollars. Is that correct, Saskia? On my value. And you can have that for free if you think it may be helpful to have that very private session with me. So I'm giving away 5 private sessions. You can just email me and see if you can get that session. And the email is johanna@johannasrawfoods.com. And the website where you can also find me is rawfoods.com. Of course, most of you get my newsletters and know this information, so you know how to get in touch with me. But those of you who come from YouTube or other places where you have no previous information, find me under johannasrawfoods.com. It'll also be under this video in the text. It was a great pleasure to finally get this done. And I'm sorry you couldn't speak live with me, but I will respond to your chats and your comments, I promise, to every single one. And I will let you go with this, unless you want another short story. Does anybody want another short story? Okay, which one? Oh, the terrible one? No. Yeah, I don't want to tell that one. The one, oh, I know, a very old one. I once, a long time ago, came back from travels and living in Africa, and I wanted to visit friends. I had a whole list of visiting my friends. And I don't know why that story comes to mind, actually, because it's not a real sort of success story, but it gives you another angle. It gives you the angle that sometimes we got to let go to allow it to happen. Yeah. And I was traveling like in a circle through various cities where I had friends and wanted to visit them all, set up all the visits. And one very dear friend who had helped me greatly during a shoot where I was acting and had a breakdown because it was a suicide scene, and I was very emotionally vulnerable and just broke down and couldn't stop crying. And he helped me tremendously to get it back together and finish the shoot. And I really, really wanted to see him. And he's also a fantastic artist. He was doing the set design on that movie. And I went, he lived in Berlin at the time. I went to his home and he was not there. And of course, this is long before cell phones and long before computers. And, you know, this was landline telephones. And if you couldn't reach anybody, there were not even any answering machines, I think, at the time. So this is how long that's ago. And I was very sad that I couldn't see him. And I remember leaving a note on his door in Berlin. And then my next stop was Munich, visiting with my film producer friend at the time there. And he was helping me write my first screenplay at the time. So here, I was always driving, you know, I've always had either rental cars or my own cars in various countries. And I was driving from Berlin to Munich and was already in the area where my Munich friend was. And I'm thinking, I should bring him something nice. You know, I always like to bring people, and because I'm so bad at presents, I bring people food and flowers or something like that. So I stopped at a supermarket, and I go into the supermarket and I get stuff to bring to my friend, the producer. And as I walk to the cash register, I go, who is up at the other side of the cash register? My Berlin friend, Jörg. And I just flipped because it was so fantastic that this was the only person I did not have access to, and there he was. This was supposed to happen, and I reconnected with him, and we, of course, you know, planned on working together on the next project at the time. So that too is part of allowing for success. Sometimes when we get too frustrated and too tense, making it work, making it work, making it work, making it work. We actually prohibit it from happening. And when we let go and focus on the next thing, there it is. It happens. All right. Wishing you all of that and looking forward to your comments and your connection. This was session 4 of our free introductory course to Johanna's Raw Foods 12-month course, Raw Chef and Sustainable Culture Certificate, and or any other private coaching and or raw food coaching that you might desire. I'm here. I look forward to hearing from you. Love you guys. And I'm going to switch you off now. I'm so happy to have this done, and success is on the rise. Okay, where do we create, store this? Do you think? All right. We are still live. If we stop broadcasting.